What's up guys, in today's video I'm going to be teaching you all of the console tips and tricks that I know as a former console player. Let's get into it. The first tip that I'm going to give you, and the arguably easiest to implement right now, is crosshair placement. Literally all you have to do is aim your crosshairs at head level and you will win 10 times more gunfights, I promise you. Now how do you do that? Well, obviously you need to learn where head level is, and the easiest place to do that is in a terrorist hunt, going around shooting terrorists and getting your muscle memory and your hand-eye coordination to remember what exactly head level is every single time that you play the game. Another good meter is if you go into a custom game and you get on a barricade, the little buckle, the top buckle on the sides of the barricade is always head level. So that's just kind of a cool metric that I thought I'd share with you. But always having your crosshair head level is very, very good. If you know someone's crouching, however, though, you need to understand what crouched level is as well. You need to understand where the head is going to be if somebody's crouched, and then you need to understand where the head's going to be if someone is prone. It's not just going to be on the ground, but where in front or behind is it on the ground going to be. Now, I will say, if you know an enemy is 1 HP, somehow you know an enemy is 1 HP, right? What you can do is actually start aiming for the body. So you need to know how to aim to the body as well, because if someone's 1 HP, and you aim to the body, it's going to be the exact same as if you aim to their head, right? It's a one-shot kill. The thing about it, though, is the body is a bigger hitbox, which means you are guaranteed a shot if you aim near them compared to trying to aim for the head. It's the same reason why in Valorant and CSGO, they aim for the bodies whenever they're opping, right? They're using a one-shot sniper, because either way, if they headshot them or body shot them, they're going to get the kill. You might as well aim for the bigger target, which is the body, and that's what I'm trying to teach you here. You can especially get away with this with guns that have very high fire rate, as the damage racks up extremely quickly. Guns like the Vector, guns like the SMG-12, stuff like that. My second tip is going to be positioning. So I actually just made an advanced positioning guide, which we'll put at the end of the video, so make sure you stick to the end for that if you want to actually get an in-depth of what I'm talking about here. But learning where to position yourself to have advantageous gunfights. So not just standing in front of doorways, but sitting next to the doorway so that you can swing and kill the enemy if you have a trap laid for them. Stuff like that. Also learning where you need to sit if they're going to push a certain objective. You need to learn like what objectives they typically push, or what objectives you need to typically be pushing, and where to position yourself to get the best gunfight that you could get. Stuff like that. It's a pretty advanced topic, which is why I made a video on it, but that's pretty much it for the positioning topic. Coming in my number 3 spot is going to be settings, specifically your sensitivity. So sensitivity on console is a bit weird, right? On PC, you want the sensitivity on the Y and X axis the exact same. There are people on console who run the Y axis greater than the X axis, and vice versa. You always want to have at least a 20 difference between your X-axis and Y-axis, as it makes recoil easier to control, but it also makes it to where when you're using a thumbstick on a controller, you have a more accurate representation of what you're trying to do out of your movement with your thumbs. On PC, you don't have to worry about that because you have an entire arm, shoulder, back, and neck to be able to aim with. So you have a lot more muscles that can make a lot more precise movements and a bigger mouse pad on a bigger playing field, as opposed to just using your thumb in your hand on just a 1-point joystick. This being said, having a lower sensitivity, contrary to what you've been taught and what you've been told by most people, is actually better than having a higher sensitivity, especially on console. You're going to be more consistent, your muscle memory is going to build easier and faster, and it's actually going to win you more gunfights in the long run than being able to 180 flick to somebody. You'll find yourself in scenarios in gunfights where you need a low sensitivity to be able to control your aim and control the recoil easier than you would if you were needing to 180 flick somebody. That only happens once every like few hundred games, if you're being honest with yourself. That being said, other settings that you can also change is your FOV. Never have base FOV. It's always going to be better to be able to see more people around you and have a higher field of vision, just in case there's an enemy sitting in a corner of your screen that you didn't know about. If your console's old, or you just don't trust yourself on high graphics for whatever reason, I definitely recommend running all low, except for shadows. Having shadows on can make it to where if it's really bright outside and you're inside and it's dark, you can get an easy swing onto certain doorways and get easy kills by seeing the shadow before you see the actual enemy player. There are tons of examples that I can give you, like rafters on Clubhouse, where you can see the door and the shadow of the person on the door before you can even see them, and you can get free kills because of it. So definitely turn your shadows on high, as well as turning on your render distance higher. Number 4 should be pretty obvious, but if you're playing on Zim, don't. This isn't even a morality thing. I'm sure you've been told by many people that playing on Zim is wrong and you shouldn't do it. So I'm not going to be the guy who says that. The reason I'll tell you not to play on Zim, however, is because if you're getting on Zim to get higher ranks so that you can eventually move to PC potentially, or to get on a team, you're eventually going to disappoint yourself. The reason for this being is because people who are like top 10 champion on console who are zimming are usually like gold on PC when it comes to actual mechanics. Like the #1 top player champ on Xbox usually is Zimming. Same thing with PS4, and every time they've been thrown into PC lobby, they usually lose. And the only time you see cheaters on PC is usually ex-Zim players who realized they weren't good on keyboard and mouse, so they started cheating, because if you're willing to cheat using a Zim, you're willing to cheat using actual cheats. So you're just gonna get disappointed. Not only that, but if you're doing it so that you can get a higher rank, so that you can get on a competitive team, once they try you out, realize you're Zimming, and or you just lose your gunfights because you don't have any game sense and you've relied on a mouse and keyboard, you're literally just not gonna have a good time. So I don't really know what to tell you. There's no reward other than like the feel good of having a high rank, but just don't do it. There's no reason. It's just kind of sad if you do. And then our number 5 tip is going to be comms. So this is extremely important. People on PC don't do this either, so you can just take this as like a regular tip, not even a console tip, but you need to be having clear comms with your teammates. You should not be afraid of talking to your teammates at all. There shouldn't be a single reason for anxiety. If they roast you, have the mental fortitude to not care. Let's like be a man about it, or a woman, whatever. Just be okay in your own skin with people roasting you, and if they roast you, mute them. It's literally that simple. You don't need to argue with them, or if you know you're gonna get roasted because you're a woman playing a game or you're a squeaker, just mute everybody first and then give callouts. Sure, you might miss a few callouts, but you should have drones and information anyways if you're a good player, so that shouldn't really be something stopping you from muting your teammates. Being a leader and being the first one to speak as well will make other people want to speak naturally more, and you'll get better comms and better kills and more round wins and higher ranks because of this. So having comms is extremely important, especially any toxic environment like console gaming. Having good comms, like knowing where the rooms are, knowing what stairs to call out, knowing certain corners, is as easy as using the compass on your HUD or the ping system right next to it. You also have looking for party posts that you can use to get actual players that you have guaranteed comms with, so there's really no excuse to not have comms. Number 6 is going to be drone work. So the reason that I say drone work is extremely important, I'm not just saying drone work, but if you're on defense, camera work, same thing. Drone work is extremely important and underused in console, and it is a PC too, to be honest. You need to be making every single drone a kill. This is something that you can live by to get the value out of your drones more. If you notice that your drones are always dying constantly, or you're not getting the most value out of them that you could be, a rule that you can implant in your head that automatically makes you get more value out of them is try to make every single drone a kill. Don't be wasting your prep phase drones by running them in, but also if you're playing information ops, you can use your prep phase drones as cutoff cameras and flank cameras so that you or your dead teammates can call out to the other teammates so that you're not caught off guard. Especially on console where sneaky operators like Cav, Vigil, and Knock are more prevalent, you need to be able to use cameras to their fullest advantage, so drone work is extremely important. Also, you don't need to be going in the building extremely fast. You need to be able to take your time to drone and get the information that you need to walk in. The amount of times that I've gotten value from late round pushing in terms of getting kills compared to early round pushing is actually really substantial. You get more kills and more value late round pushing on a flank than you ever would just rushing in with a Maru and Ashe. The reason for this being is late round, your teammates have already probably pushed one side of the map and all the defenders' heads are turned to that side of the map. So you can easily sneak up behind him with a knocker and Ashe and get some free picks. And if you're doing late round anyways, you might as well be taking the time to drone yourself into certain rooms so that you're not dying to somebody sitting in a corner. Honestly, if you're on PC too, this is a pretty good guide for you. All these tips do apply, maybe except for the settings one, but really other than that, like, this is a pretty good tips and tricks guide. If you like the style of content and you want to get better at the game of Rainbow Six Siege, I am definitely the channel to sub to. I just got monetized, which is super cool. Sub to the channel down below, like the video if you liked it. All of the things I just talked about I've already made videos on, so at the end of this outro, click on those. My name's Alka, and I will see y'all in the next one.